you want to prevent the pain that you experienced. And it's not selfish, but it is a little self-serving in a very deep way, which I do it. So I think everyone codependent does it. But you can't rewrite people's story, and you have to observe and not absorb. And if you're codependent, even that sentiment is like Latin, because it's like, no, I can fix it. I can help them. And then when they don't take your advice, you're angry and you're hurt and you take it personally. Like, what the hell? I helped you. I gave you this many hours. But it's like, maybe instead of giving this person 3 hours, give that 3 hours to yourself and your own healing. And by leading by example, you'll help them more than by trying to change an outcome that you've already personally experienced. White limo.
Chad likes to go all out on his first dates.
No,
it's so 80s.
Right?
There's a reason why.
Did you wear a white lapel?
Nah, I dress semi-casual, but
Why did you go white?
There is a reason why I rented a limo.
Yeah.
Because it was my first date with this young lady, and I had to drive all the way up to LA, and I currently didn't have a driver's license.
Oh, that's right.
So you threw her out of the park. You were like, I'm going to just divulge that I go 120.
Yeah.
I didn't want her to know that, like, if we would have got pulled over, they would have
arrested you.
Yes.
Yeah. Sent you to jail.
Yeah. And I didn't want that to happen on the first date.
The limo money is better than bail.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's way cheaper.
Public humiliation.
Right.
She did make fun of the white limo though later on down the road.
Oh, just like
I should have because it looked like a prom limo. I should have.
I don't know why I think white limos are so 80s. I think of like a White Snake video.
Yeah, and
like
prom,
I agree.
because White Snake
cocaine.
was prom.
What I don't understand
my
is you could have hired Ryan or someone, or you could have had one of the guys here.
I just
drive
But
your-
you're married now, correct?
Yeah,
So it worked out.
It worked
That did
out.
work out. You're right.
Yeah, I just I don't know. I'm not gonna hire one of my own staff members because you never know what's gonna happen on a
Oh,
first
that's
date.
true. That's true. I was thinking they could drive the rolls.
I didn't have that car.
Oh, you didn't have the car?
No.
Oh. Oh.
I bought that for Donna.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh. Fair enough. Fair enough. So, Lacy, how are you?
Did we start?
We started like 10 minutes ago.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did. This is what we do.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We
I
just
was waiting for him.
No.
Oh,
we
you were waiting for. Oh, dang it! It's my fault. Cue,
We just
I
get
thought
it.
you
Oh.
did like an intro.
Not really. Oh, here it is. You're right. We
cue
do a
the
little
intro.
one. Cue. Bow, 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 bow. That's it. That's our intro, Lacy.
Okay, I love
Yeah,
it.
it's that casual.
Yeah, we do.
You just sit down and.
We're a little bit more like Joe Rogan, where we just start talking. Because sometimes our guests are nervous. Now, you're obviously not nervous, but sometimes our guests are nervous when they come in.
Really?
And so we just start talking to them, and then 5 minutes in, they're like, I usually go, Michelangelo, are we live? And he's like, yeah, we're live.
Yeah.
That's like the doctor with a needle.
Yes.
Very vindictive.
Very
I
painless.
understand why people would be nervous.
Yeah. But we're easygoing. It's just a nice casual. You know what I'm saying? And you have so much information, and
I do have a lot of
you have a lot of information, and you share your struggles,
I do.
and you're open about that.
I do. And
Which is-
I've just learned you guys do as well,
Yeah.
which I find very valuable and
Yeah.
admirable.
Yeah.
So the reason how I found you, just so you know, is I think you were on somebody else's podcast.
OC dentist.
The OC dentist.
Okay,
The
yes,
real
I love
OC
her.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's a complete sweetheart.
Yeah.
She is. She was on our podcast last week.
I replied to her story.
Awesome. I love her.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And then I was like, oh, and then I started looking at your page and I noticed that you do work. You do, it looked like fundraising for mental health.
Yeah, so my name is Lacy, and nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I just launched a foundation for mental health resources and advocacy and awareness. But prior to that, I've always worked in, not always, I used to work in the fashion space. So that's why everything is kind of wrapped in a sparkly bow. But I have always, for the last few years, worked in the mental health space, the space of victim advocate rights groups and advocacy, the court system. And I just recently launched my own foundation because I was fundraising for so many other groups. And I was like, I could do this and be more in charge of where the money is going, because I always look into where the money is going. And I didn't necessarily agree with the groups I was working with. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is.
yeah.
I like that a lot.
And it's Dazzle. What's it called?
Shame to sparkle.
Shame to Sparkle.
Yes.
Shame,
Sparkle.
Shame to Sparkle.
Yes,
Yeah, no,
there's a 50-50 thing on it. And people love it or hate it, but that's how, that's life.
Yeah.
So I love it. I love, my whole spiel is overcoming shame. And my upbringing personally was very shame-driven. And I think a lot of adults struggle immensely with shame, and they don't even realize it, because shame will overrun our deep subconscious. It will overrun our goals. It will overrun our success. It will overrun our ability to stay healthy or sober or think we're deserving. And I think people don't comprehend the magnitude of the word. And sparkle, I just love sparkle. But I think to me, it really does have a deeper meaning, which isn't superficial. And it's okay to do your best. And if you grew up in a system where you were told not to be too much, or if you grew up where people were telling you your dreams were too big, or, if you're a parent and people are judging you, or whatever realm you're in, really, it's okay to be the best you and to kind of drop people that don't want you to sparkle. And of course, if you're a man, sparkle. But just the whole vibe of it to me is just you can overcome feeling not enough and a lack and shine, because when we're born onto this earth, my belief system is we come here absolutely perfect. And we're this perfect specimen made from God or the universe, whatever you believe in. And our parents' limiting beliefs and our parents' trauma and our teachers' trauma and our cousins' trauma and the friend we made who made us feel bad. And all of those little things get imprinted onto us while our brain is developing. And I'm really big on our brain and how it works and coincides with, our whole existence. And that's when we become broken. We aren't born broken. We're born perfect. So if we could just come back to that and sparkle, or whatever word you like, how we're meant to, that's when we are fulfilling ourselves. And that's when we can kind of drop all these false beliefs and anxiety and things that aren't really ours to hold.
I love that. And my parents, no offense to my but yeah, they put a roof on my success emotionally and mentally while you're growing up. They always said, get your head out of the clouds, quit dreaming so high, get a job, 40 to 70,000 a year, be comfortable. That was how I was. It was weird, man. I don't do that to my kids.
Well, and I think even so, and I always say I get my parents' permission to tell my story because it's dark, and parents are just going through their lens. They're just simply doing their best. So they can't teach you something they were not taught,
right,
unless they go and open a handbook and do the work. And even a few years ago, that wasn't the norm. And especially if you grew up in a situation where maybe financial stability wasn't available to you, no one's going to go open a book on how to raise a kid if you're working 3 jobs. And I respect that. So I think it's our responsibility to really reteach ourselves emotional regulation and how our nervous system works, and to just combat the shame that was maybe handed to us without feeling resentment or,
totally.
And that's okay to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love them. I believe me. They did.
No, of course.
Yeah, they did their best at the time and what they were handed.
Yeah,
with.
I think all parents do the best job that they can do with the information that they were given or that was passed down to them. I am not so sure that my story is that, because my dad was a Canadian immigrant who was told in 3rd grade that he was retarded and would never make it past the 6th grade. And he came to America when he was 19 years old, put himself through UCLA, got 2 PhDs, and then he went on to medical school and got an MD.
Yeah.
And then he became a very famous, well-known doctor who actually perfected the ultrasound machine. So he made it so you can see an image on the screen when you shoot he invented the grayscale is what it was called.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And this was somebody that was
Yeah,
this was somebody that was told in 3rd grade that they were retarded.
No chance.
So mine is a little bit different. I grew up seeing all these insane plaques on the wall.
Yeah.
And I was like, I will never be able to amount to that.
Of course.
I don't think that anymore though.
No, well, because you've done the work.
Yeah. Yeah. That was cool. That was good. I like that. You know?
I mean, it's amazing because like people, we limit ourselves, you know, and that's why today I only fill my mind with like positive stuff, like the things that you're talking about right now, how to better my life, how to better my brain, how to know that I can achieve anything that I set my mind to, like including this podcast, because this isn't normal for me. I'm more like a shy, laid back, you know, kid.
You're delicate.
Yeah. And I don't jump on.
A gentle giant.
Yeah.
Because he's
giant.
strong and like muscular.
Yeah.
But he's elegant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like conundrums. And humor.
Yeah.
No, I think, and you know, I think everything comes with its hand in hand with something else. And so people are so triggered as a whole. So I hate to give, you know, finite facts or matter of fact statements, but there's no toxic positivity. It's just okay to know how powerful you are. And if you weren't brought up to believe that, or, you know, your belief system isn't based around that, it can be hard to change. And to like, even someone like me, I always say I grew up with a lot of privilege, but I grew up with a lot of hardship. And I remember my whole childhood, people telling me, you're so lucky, you're so lucky, you're so lucky, you're so lucky. And as an adult, that was my trigger. So whenever someone tells me, even still, like, you're so lucky, you're so privileged, and I have to train myself to not say, oh, well, I went through this, and I have, and I'm very proud of that. And so it's not to say, like I always say, it's not the trauma Olympics. Going through anything is hard, and you don't need to be toxic positivity about it, but it's okay to change the belief system. And it's hard work to change a system in your brain and to kind of reroute a synapse. So if you've done that, it's very admirable, and you should be very proud of yourself. So we're all obviously proud of ourselves here.
I like what
That
you
was
said
beautifully
there.
said,
It
yeah.
was. That's just amazing. But it's really quite amazing how that wound stays open when someone says just a simple word or two, you're lucky.
Of course. Well,
You know?
our triggers, I would hope you guys know this, because I think everyone knows this at this point. Our triggers are our unhealed parts of ourselves. So whenever I speak to someone and they're triggered, or I get a mean hate comment, I know it's not a me thing. I know it's an unhealed part of someone. If someone hurts me, if someone's mean to me, if they call me by name, if a boyfriend has cheated on me, it's nothing to do with me. So if someone is saying something to me and they make my nervous system, even where your heart does that little pitter patter of, you know, cortisol, I know that's a me thing. Most people know that's their trigger, but they don't really know how to acknowledge it in the moment. And I think that if you can do that and look within yourself, you are going to grow more than any self-help book or self-help therapist or EMDR, which all are lovely things, by the way. But I think if you can really sit down, like I write, because I was telling them I'm stuck in the 90s, but if you can really sit down and write your triggers and think, why does it bother me when someone does this? Like, I notice it bothers a lot of people, at least in my circumstance, when I used to tell my story of my crime. And I would have a lot of people be like, well, I went through this. It's not, you don't even know. And I was like, well, why does it bother you really that I'm telling my story? Because you're safe to tell your story. We all deserve to tell our story. Is it me telling my story, or is it because when you've told your story, you felt shamed, or you felt alone, or you felt unheard, or you're too embarrassed to tell? You know, there's something deep within any wound that we're carrying where we're reacting to others and giving them our power. And it's a huge thing to work on. So I can't even get into it in probably the amount of time we have, but yeah.
No, I like that, because I was taught that 15 years ago from a Navy SEAL, Casey Homer. I'll never forget. He told me, you know, why are you giving that guy your power? Do you pray to him? And I'll never forget that. And that's exactly what you just said to me.
Well, I am Navy SEAL. No, I was telling them I am a Russian spy. No, I'm not a Navy SEAL, in case you cannot tell.
Wow. Yeah, that was nice.
But you have the mindset of one.
Yeah.
I tried to. I think I've had to. So I was telling them prior, my backstory is I grew up here in Orange County, which in itself is obviously a huge privilege. We're in a beautiful community with a lot of financial stability, but I grew up in a household as an only child with just complete chaos when it comes to addiction. And our family's wound was addiction. And I think every person in my family, you know, above my parents was an addict, and my mother was an addict, and I was an only child. And I grew up with the sentiment of, you're so lucky that you have these nice things, and if you complain, it's terrible. And I grew up where we were just raised to lie, which sounds terrible, but that's what I was taught. So going to school every day, I would lie, and to my friends I would lie, and I kind of just learned, if you lie and make everything look perfect, then you'll survive. And I was taught from a young age, you know, if you don't lie to the teacher while you are gone, CPS is going to come here and take you, and you're going to be alone, and you're going to be an orphan. Or if you don't lie to our friends at church of where we were, we're going to get kicked out, and it's going to be all your fault. Everything was on me of my fault if I was honest. So I learned to keep everyone else's secrets and kind of be the parent, which isn't fair, but it, you know, it was what we had to do at the time. And I'm not mad at it now, but holding that for so many years, I did learn to have a mindset maybe of a Navy SEAL, because growing up, I decided in my early 20s, am I going to fall into this hole and repeat this cycle, or am I going to be the cycle breaker? And it's really, really hard to be a cycle breaker. So if you're one, I applaud you. It's really hard to go against a system that is generations in the making, and to say I'm going to work and I'm not going to put up with this, and I'm going to put my foot down. And there are so many times where I did fall back, or I did, you know, I'm the codependent one, where I do save people, or I do put down the people that are important to me to pick up the chaos. And learning that takes a lot of gumption. And I always say, like, it's hard to do anything, but it's hard to do that. So if anyone discredits you for simply being that, like, to me, if you've broken a cycle or a system, you are a Navy SEAL. You are a doctor in my mind, because you've done something that's years and years and years of work, and it's very commendable.
What were someone was saying the other day, 10,000 hours of doing something, you are a specialist. Was that
correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm an expert.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think our minds are really powerful, and day to day we forget how important it is to just reroute little things that we've become accustomed to. And I myself forget. So it's normal, but if you can just change one belief, you know, a month, it's huge in the scape of our lifetime.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, our minds are insanely powerful, and I mean, we're more powerful than just we're not just human beings. We're spiritual beings as well. And when you really realize that type of stuff, I mean, the sky's the limit. You know, like the impossible becomes possible, and it becomes possible because you believe that you can do it. I have a favorite quote from a book that I read when I was in jail. Because I had nothing else to do, and my dad sent me a couple of books. One of them was called Hung by the Tongue, and the other one was called The Master Key to Riches. And in The Master Key to Riches, a guy says, what one man's mind can conceive and believe, but I've changed it to person, but what one person's mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. So once you conceive it, which is a thought, right? Mm-hmm. And then you truly believe it, you can make it happen.
I agree.
You know, anything. Like, we didn't have the Wright brothers. There's a good example. How crazy were they, like, before anybody could fly? Let's just throw some wings on us and give it a go.
No, but that's anything in life, you know, and if you're going to be the one doing something or making a change, you're usually called crazy, but if you believe it, you can achieve it.
I wonder if people called us crazy for starting a podcast, or were like, hey, you guys aren't going to accomplish this. I didn't really get that, because like everybody that's around me is like, yeah, dude, if you do it, this thing's going to blow up.
Yeah.
Supportive. That's good though. And it's good to have a supportive circle.
Yeah. And I mean, for me though, it's like, because I have a proven track record of success, and I do. And that's through hard work though. And so like, I like to talk to people that were at the same spot that I was when I was 22 years old, and I didn't have a high school diploma, and, you know, I had been addicted to drugs for, 10 years, and, you know, had been in and out of jail, and I was a convicted felon, and, you know, how was I going to make it? And I like talking to those people. I mean, not necessarily the same story as mine, but the same mindset that I had.
Success.
Of wondering how I was going to succeed.
Overcoming.
How was I going to overcome this?
Yeah, of course.
And that was, I mean, I was 20, I'm 49 now.
Oh, you shouldn't have told me. I thought you were like 33.
Right?
Oh, thanks.
Blew
33. See that, bro? I told you.
You blew it.
Wait till you start plunging.
Plunging?
You don't cold plunge yet?
See?
Oh my god!
All right.
Well, the only reason why I don't cold plunge yet is because we have to film it, and it's got to go on the story.
I get it. You can secretly do it and then film it and pretend.
Right.
Just for your own.
That's true.
Like film my first one.
Yeah. Your
and
fake
just like,
first one.
it's so cold. It's. I mean, every time you do it,
It's the same.
it doesn't get any warmer.
It doesn't.
It's always like the first
It's
time.
amazing.
Everybody I watch that films it, they're like making weird noises.
I don't know.
Do you get in quietly?
I get in quietly. I actually cold plunge at the Korean spa. I am obsessed with the Korean spa. It's a little grimy, but it's my safe haven. I think everyone should go to the Korean spa.
Where is it?
And longevity and anti-aging and health in places like Korea are immensely better than I actually have the statistics written down. So I follow anyone who's doing something that I'm inspired by. I do, because that's just a me thing. And so Americans are not as healthy as a majority of the world, including third world countries in some spaces. So I won't ramble. I have a little bit of ADD, and I
Ramble. I don't.
Yeah, we
care.
don't care.
We go off
I get on one topic, and then 30 minutes later, I'm like in Dubai on a camel in my head. So in any sense, I try and emulate places that do well, and Koreans and their skin and their aging and their health and their nervous system are chef's kiss. So I go to the Korean spa. It's in Irvine. It's not the fanciest, but they have a cold plunge, a hot sauna, and a salt room and a steam room and these heated floors. And I eat seaweed soup, which is incredible. I assume it's organic because it's so delicious. And I cold plunge there. And then it's a room of naked women. So I'm not going to squeal and scream, when there's 3 naked women next to me.
Okay.
But I am very into the cold plunge.
Yeah. So you're going
So
to the
good for
bigger
you.
cold plunge.
Pardon?
There's like 10 people cold plunge.
It's
Yeah,
large
I've heard
enough.
of
We're
those.
not, sardines,
Yeah.
thank God.
Yeah.
But
So there's more than one person in the plunge that you're going in?
Yeah.
They
Oh,
have
okay.
those. They have them for men as well. I was just reading up
There's
on
a
them.
men's side at the
We
spa.
inside.
We should go.
You
should
guys
do that.
should go. It's
Yeah.
a great bonding experience.
Yeah,
I
I
spend the
agree.
whole day there when I can't. It's very rare I can spend more than an hour or two. And they do a body scrub.
Wow. I'm in.
It's heaven. I get a massage.
Korean spa.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's
Do they let
so
us take
well
our cameras?
well priced. No, because everyone is nude and
Oh, that's
it would be
right.
inappropriate.
Oh, shoot.
But there's a common area and you can have a camera in the common area, like in the salt room. But I personally have never filmed in there because I don't want to disturb anyone.
Yeah.
But I've seen people filming in there. It doesn't disturb me, but
I take it back, Shane. I'm not going with you. We already did this this naked in the spa thing.
We did.
oh,
We did.
Not- I
That's how we
wasn't
met.
naked.
I was the only one.
He's-
I never knew the
So
rules.
yeah, and he's from Canada. He's from Canada, right? He's actually
I didn't know
Canadian.
Canadians as nudists. I thought they were just friendly.
And nudists.
Subservient to their
Yeah.
government.
Well,
But that's
yeah.
my, there's a generalization about everything.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Yeah. They're, like Europeans, they think. Here's the thing, I'm just not into the men's locker room at gyms, and that we, like even my gym, Lifetime, it has a jacuzzi in there, and I'm not going to get in there if there's a
Really?
naked man in it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just not.
See,
doing
I am literally, and I guess I think this about everyone else because I assume that everyone's in my brain. I'm literally only worried about myself. I'm not even worried about like, do I look good naked? What's this person's naked? This person, I'm literally like, okay, what am I going to think about in the cold plunge? How long can I sit in there? And my brain is so scared of the cold that I'm counting and doing all these things. And then I get in there and I look around and I'm like right next to this naked lady. I'm sorry. I'm like,
Yeah. No, I'm the same.
And you've like had your eyes closed and you're
because
like,
it's
oh,
so
hi.
freaking cold.
Yeah.
I hate doing it. And sometimes I go and I don't do it. I dip my toe in and I panic.
You get your hands in?
I get my whole, like, up to here.
Yeah, I can't get my hands
and
I have
everything.
gloves.
Hands under?
Everything up to the top of my neck. If I get my hair, that's like a 3-hour thing. So I
Try
don't get the
not
hair
to.
wet.
Yeah, I wear gloves.
So what
now.
do? Do you wear a
No, I don't wear a swim cap. Like completely naked sardine. No, I just go up to the top of the neck.
Okay.
You guys are fine.
I know, but your hair is like way down
I
here.
can put it up.
Okay,
There's
all right.
technology now for this.
You know, I don't know these things. Look at my hair.
Scrunchy. I know. So in any
little.
sense, there's so many benefits to the cold plunge. And I always listen to Huberman, and he's like, it's just so good for you. It's so good for your longevity and your nervous system.
Yeah.
And all of these things that help our nervous system, I think we should all be doing because our society is so mentally
Nervous.
shaken.
Yeah.
So even that 5 minutes, if you can like get in a bathtub and throw some ice in it, if you can't make it to the naked Korean spa, but even that 5 minutes to yourself is so immensely helpful. Or that 5-minute meditation in the morning. I personally can't meditate. It's not even a false belief saying the word can't. I just can't. It's not for me. Spent years trying, but I can do the cold plunge, and I can do it like I do a daily stretch. You have to do what works for you.
Yeah, I do the same as you. I can't meditate anymore either. I need to be doing something because my head, I'm get so bored. So
I never could.
Yeah.
So, but it's all what works for you. If you can take even that 5 minutes, and I know a lot of people are like, easy for you to say when I'm doing this or I have to race to work. I get that. And I don't take it every day. I mean, if you can take that 10 minutes for yourself, or you can get up 10 minutes earlier or stay up 10 minutes later, it's so helpful.
There's no excuses,
I don't.
Lacey.
Yeah, no.
There's no excuses.
Oh, no, I know. I read all the hate mail.
Yeah.
And so I try and be, conducive to both sides. And I
Right.
get that. Listen, if you're triggered and some
them.
blonde girl in Orange County is like, make sure you get up 10 minutes early, even though you can't afford your rent this month. People are like, shut the hell up.
Yeah.
Who are you? But listen, if that's going to help you and your life and your health and your immune system, which it's all proven to help.
Yeah.
I'm only saying it because I know the benefits, and I've been that triggered person where someone was telling me when I was sick, how dare you?
Mm-hmm.
I would be so angry when someone would tell me, just go to yoga. And I was like, oh, easy for you to say. I can't freaking walk. But I've changed that. And I think I just try and give people both ends of the spectrum so they know, I know it's hard if you're in it.
Yeah, but the thing is this, that if they can't afford the rent, going to yoga or doing yoga on their own or exercising on their own is going to allow them to be capable of making more money.
Of course.
It sounds, you get that.
No, of course.
And when I say that,
of
people
course.
don't get that, but you understand, it's
No.
a trickle effect.
But I mean, 1,000%. But I also know, it's very hard to take in new information in a triggered mind. And I think I only know because maybe I empathize because I've been there.
Yeah.
And I was really sick in my late 20s, and people would give me this, advice. Or even I struggled with a reproductive disease called endometriosis. And I had gotten to stage 4 before they found it because the medical system is just so corrupt for men and women. And
What is that exactly?
so it's a reproductive disease that impacts, the lining of your uterine walls and your ovaries. It can really affect even your lungs. It affected my lungs. So I've had no voice for 6 years. I was telling them I sound like a pirate or a smoker. But by the time I was diagnosed, I was so angry because I've been telling doctors for years. And then they were like, okay, you can never have children. You can never do this. We're going to have to take out your uterus. You need a hysterectomy. So I had all these reproductive surgeries, and I was in it at the moment. I was triggered because I was sick and mad, and I had felt bad for so many years, and I was self-loathing. And when people would tell me, no, just go to yoga and do a cold plunge, I would be like, ah. And then I got sick of my own BS, and I started doing those things, and I started doing a lot of other things. And after years of IVF, I got pregnant naturally, and I didn't need all these things. And my endometriosis, at least for me, because it's technically something you cannot cure, I've had no symptoms though for 3 years. And now I go and speak, and I'll speak at an endo summit or an endo day LA, and I'll tell these women, I know you're gonna hate me, and I read the comments and the things on the message boards when you're so triggered, but it will help you. And it's it's hard to step out of that belief when you're feeling so bad, but it will.
You can't really message negative though if you haven't actually tried it.
Of course. You just have to break that wall of the pain and turn that pain into purpose and not turn that pain into more pain. But it's hard when you're in pain, you know, and I get that too. So I try and empathize, but all of this hippy dippy gypsy hoopla, it does help your body. That's why people, you know, in India are living to 105, and people in certain areas of Greece, their average life, not in all of Greece, it's 81, but in some areas of Greece, in these little, you know, isolated villages, they live to 107. And you know what they do? They meditate every day, and they cold plunge, and they drink olive oil. They don't worry about getting fat. They drink red wine, and they live to 107. Their cancer rate is the lowest. Same as some villages in Italy and in Sicily. Our cancer rate is 1 in 2 in women and 1 in 3 in men, which is extraordinarily high in a first world country. And it's not derived from age, because I just read the latest updates. It's lifestyle and stress and toxins and things and all these things. And you have to learn to
those things that are illegal in other countries that we put in our food.
Yes. But, you know, if you feel unwell, you do feel isolated, and you're like, no, I'm sick. You don't understand. So I want people to know I understand is my point. My ego wants people to know, you know, that's an ego point, but it's like, it sucks to feel like crap, but it's when you can step out of it and be that person that you hate, it will help you. Yeah.
I mean, there's a saying that I love: when the pain of remaining the same outweighs the fear of change, then we'll change.
And that's a good one.
You know, and it's like, what is your pain tolerance?
Mine is high.
Mine is high too. Like, mine is really high.
Yeah, me
I
too.
can't believe some of the pain that I put myself through to like just hold the pain.
And if you're accustomed to pain, and that's your bottom line, then you like the pain. Like, I actually used to like the chaos. I used to tell everyone, I remember I told Phil when we were dating, I thrive in chaos. Give me chaos. And that's why if somebody tells me something horrific, it's still something I have. You can tell me the most horrific thing. I don't react. I go into like this, and this. You could tell me the most benign, stupid thing, and I react, you know, and that's a trauma response right there, where, you know, something goes amiss that doesn't even matter, and you freak out, and somebody's head is on fire, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, chaos like that though. When I see when chaos, because you know, I own drug and alcohol treatment centers now,
of course,
and that's what I do for a living. So I see chaos every day,
of course.
And you know, I'm not in the mix of it anymore on a daily basis, but
you probably were.
Oh, I was.
And you probably used to take on, this would be my inference and judgment, but you probably used to take on people's shit. Am I allowed to say shit? As your own. And you probably used to absorb it. And you probably used to go too far with people, because that's what people do who are derived off chaos. They take on other people's chaos, and they set down all of their health and all of their healthy things and all of their healthy friends, because this stranger is in chaos and it becomes your own. And it's okay to separate. You could still help people and have a boundary and separate and still be worthy and still be, you know, this huge pivotal point in someone's life, but you don't have to absorb it, and you really can't save everyone.
Yeah, those are facts from my beginning days. Probably my first 10 years working in this industry.
I would guess that.
I'm
a psychic.
That is a fact. Even employees, like to a point where you know, everybody would come to me for the answers.
Oh yeah.
And somebody said to me one day, because I was like, I would come to work and I would be like a sponge, and they would just dry me out by the end of the day, right?
Well, and I wouldn't, sorry to interrupt and interject, I would guess that you're codependent. And there's this I read this great book and study on addiction, because again, and Phil struggled with it. Everyone around me has struggled with addiction. But there's a saying that 100% of addicts are really codependents who didn't have the tools to heal, and numbing is easier than admitting that they're codependent. And if you've struggled with addiction, and probably, if they're saying 100%, I obviously didn't write the study, you probably are codependent, and that's a codependence curse. And a codependence curse is taking on everyone's stuff and resenting the shit out of them for taking on their stuff. And how dare they? And everyone comes to me and blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I'm doing?
But you were the one that actually did it by giving them the answer. See, when I learned how not to do that, somebody told me, okay, they can still come to you, but anytime somebody comes to you for a solution, because I'm very solution oriented, and I I mean, most of the time I see the solution as people are telling me the problem.
Of course.
But what this individual told me, and I don't even remember who it was, they said, whenever somebody comes to you, have them come with 3 of their own solutions.
Yeah.
Of course.
Always have them come. And so I started doing that way. And then on top of that, I started allowing other people to make the mistake, let them have their own autonomy in making a decision. Because how did I learn where I'm at from making all the mistakes already?
Well, and there's also a part of codependency that's deep rooted in trying to prevent other people to make mistakes, because you think you can change the outcome of all the mistakes you made. And you think this is deep subconscious, by the way. I'm not just talking like, oh, limited belief. It's you want to prevent the pain that you experienced. And it's not selfish, but it is a little self-serving in a very deep way, which I do it. So I think everyone codependent does it. But you can't rewrite people's story, and you have to observe and not absorb. And if you're codependent, even that sentiment is like Latin, because it's like, no, I can fix it. I can help them. And then when they don't take your advice, you're angry and you're hurt and you take it personally. Like, what the hell? I helped you. I gave you this many hours. But it's like, maybe instead of giving this person 3 hours, give that 3 hours to yourself and your own healing. And by leading by example, you'll help them more than by trying to change an outcome that you've already personally experienced. Does that make sense?
Well, it does a lot of it. And I'll tell you something. I was reading a study, and some kids were asked, what could your father have done more for you while you were growing up? And they said, work on yourself.
Oh, all parents.
They said, work on your dad, work on yourself.
All parents. I wish parents knew that.
It was amazing when I read that.
Some people will tell you they don't have time to work on themselves.
Well, and that's why all parents don't do that, I guess.
I'm too busy. I'm too busy.
No.
I'm too busy to go to the gym.
There's always time.
There's
always time.
Well, there's a lot of aspects too. Too busy, too angry, too poor, too cognitive dissonance, right? If somebody's giving you literally a fact on something that you've already perceived to be true in another way, you're going to get angry.
Yeah.
You're going to fight them. I can give people facts on medication because I've healed 7 autoimmune diseases, which I've healed them. They don't exist in my body. And they'll still look me in the eye and be like, no, my doctor gives it to me. And I'm like, I'm reading you the fact from the medical handbook. No, why would my doctor give it to me? I'm like, okay,
God.
But we're just all wired differently, and that's okay too.
Well, I saw some pictures on your Instagram. Here you had Band-Aids.
Oh yeah, well that's endometriosis surgery.
Oh, that was the.
I cut you all over the place. I always joke I'm like a smorgasbord of scars everywhere on my body as a little scar and thing, and I'm like, I spray tan them.
Yeah. I spray tan them. I tattoo them.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, love my scars.
It's amazing, just the whole story. And you're very strong. And
as are you guys.
And wise. But you have a lot of information in, you've been through stuff and you've done stuff, but you've really, a lot of people could just take that in and whatever. They get over it and they don't really become.
Well, I like the way you've studied.
Yeah.
I love to study. You guys have to stop complimenting me, by the way. Getting a big head over here.
No,
I love
crazy.
learning.
Yeah.
I remember being a little kid and school came really naturally to me. I did very, very, very well academically. Other than math. Math is not my strong suit, but I love learning. It's very easy for me to retain information. And I just remember it wasn't available to me because there were so many days where, and I, again, like you say, I give the disclaimer, I love my mom, but she was like, if you go to school today, I'll kill myself. And I was like, I can't go to school today. Or, I missed so much school. The police would come to our house. And I always just had my head in a book, and I always wanted to learn. And thank God my dad would pay me allowance for each book I read. And I realized I can remember things really sufficiently from just reading pages or writing it down again. I don't know. We all have our own way of learning.
Right. Yeah.
And so when it comes to these studies and these things and our health and our longevity and addiction or healing or trauma, I love to learn and retain it because first of all, I'm not a doctor, in case you didn't notice. I'm not a, PhD. And I think when you don't have certain accolades, it's very easy for people to brush you off, oh, did you learn that on Facebook, or where did you do your research when, with certain subjects or context? And I think if you can really learn things and read about them and become, an expert in your own mind and help even the people that are willing to listen, then you're doing a huge service and satisfaction. But I really do I don't know. I always look at TikTok late at night and it says it's all these forms of brain disorder.
No,
I'm on the spectrum because I love learning statistics at 3 a.m. It's definitely ADHD as well. You have
to be your own advocate.
Exactly.
For your mental health and for your physical health, because here's the thing, they even say don't have a colonoscopy until you're 50 or 55.
Oh, I had a colonoscopy 2 months ago.
I took Marin when she was 30. I forced her to go. She had 7 polyps.
I have the in here because I save all my health stuff.
Yeah.
It's 7 precancerous polyps and one had a piece of cancer they removed.
This is what I'm saying.
32.
See, and she was 30. I forced her to go. Now she's got to go every 4 years. So I try to explain to people that medicine was built for money.
Well, and it's a practice. And I think people forget, a practice, science in itself. Science is something, I don't exactly know the definition verbatim, but it's something that's ever changing upon new information.
Yeah.
And I think that's also something really hard for humans to do. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to be into one thing and totally change your mind. And if people judge you, it's okay. And I don't know where this stigma came in that changing your mind is such a terrible thing upon getting new information.
Right.
So with health, it is a practice, and practices change, and practices aren't perfected, or it would be a medical perfect. But I forced a colonoscopy 2 months ago because I was having all these issues, and I had all these things, and I was reading about. I'm trying to get one of my friends on my podcast. She was just diagnosed with colon cancer at, I believe, 36. And it's the fastest rising cancer in young adults. And they're trying to lower the age. And I think it's something we do need to advocate for. If you're having an issue, you need to advocate for yourself.
Here's the thing. Even if you're not having, Marin was not having any issues, perfectly healthy 30-year-old. And I told her, listen, you go and you lie. You tell them that are you having this side effect.
That's so funny. I just told my best friend that yesterday.
Yes, lie.
Yesterday. I was like, lie so they'll do it. And lie so insurance covers it. Because it's so corrupt.
Bingo. And sure enough, 7 polyps. Well, that's what you have to do. You have to fight for yourself.
But what an amazing advocate. What an amazing spouse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. It's my mother. She instilled that into me because we have a lot of doctors in our family, and we call them shoe doctors. You know what I mean? Because here's a prescription. Go ahead. They're quick to do that. So my mother, we really got into our own health and things like that. So
it's important.
Yeah, really important.
My question to the both of you, because I'm not quite the same as you guys on this part of the health level, but those people that live to 107 up in these rural places in Greece.
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell you guys right now, they're not going and getting colonoscopies regularly.
Oh, of course not. But they don't need to.
Exactly.
But I'm only saying that because, their health is completely different than ours because of the food that they eat.
Oh,
and the mindset that
no
they
stress.
have.
1,000%.
The stress level.
100%.
I wouldn't, listen, if I lived in a remote village, I wouldn't need a colonoscopy ever. Well, no, I wouldn't say ever. I don't like to say matter of facts. But they're not cleaning the table with Clorox and drinking the Starbucks from the cup made of poison and writing and on the phone with the blue light that's derived and drinking the plastic water full of,
plastics full of plastics.
But everything is
just
bad.
So you guys know, I gave her the water.
He did give me, he was poisoning me. He looked at me and he gave me that look.
I was like, I should get the plastic bottle.
Listen, if you are in a society, like I'm a psychopath. I always post about seed oil. I'm a psychopath about how freaking toxic seed oil is. Don't eat seed oil.
What is seed oil?
Seed oil is everywhere. It's in everything. It's like canola oil, soybean oil,
canola is oh god, I can't even say the word. I don't think you're allowed to say the word on
it's on YouTube.
On YouTube.
Okay.
I'm gonna say grape instead, but it's a grape seed, but it's actually take the G away.
Oh yeah.
That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Grape seed. But take the G away.
It's the worst thing for your body, specifically a woman's body. It causes inflammation, neuroinflammation. When they introduced all of these things, by the way, in the 1940s and 1950s, canola oil, fast food chains, McDonald's, all these things were around this time. And they were also testing an array of medications for women, for pregnant women, specifically for children. This is really when our health as a whole hit like the button on this read the grid of every single ailment, not just, intellectual and mental ailments, but with autism, Asperger's, anything on the spectrum, but cancer, obesity, issues with weight, with health, with inflammation, all of these diseases that are, neurodegenerative or caused by inflammation. There's such a rare percentage of disease is genetic. And people like to say genetic, it's my genetics. It's not your genetics. It is our environment. And if you remove these things, like for me, I gained like 70 pounds when I was pregnant, but I thought I looked amazing. I don't know, I looked pretty bad. But I lost it fast, and everyone's like, what did you do? What did you do? Do you take this drug? Do you do this? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm not above taking anything. I want to feel healthy. Do what works for you. But I cut out seed oil, and I eat pasta. I eat bread. I eat carbs. I have a list in my phone of restaurants that use seed oil because some are healthy. Like Goop Kitchen uses seed oil. Greenleaf uses seed oil. Unhealthy place. Chipotle uses seed oil. They all use these oils. It's literally a carcinogenic. They take the oil and recycle it and give it to gas companies to get money.
Damn it, we just lost our fucking sponsorship with Chipotle.
So what I'm wondering is when you're making all these French fries in the grease, that's seed oil?
Everywhere. And so I have a list of places that don't use them. And it's mostly like family-owned Italian places because they're like, that's crap. How dare you even ask? And I'm
I'd love to get that list.
Yeah. And so you can eat a pasta or a pizza. That's why everyone who goes to Europe.
Thinking, like, you go to Italy.
That's why I was just going to say that. Pasta.
I went for
and you
2
probably
weeks.
lost weight.
Yeah, 5 pounds.
Yeah. So I eat everything.
I ate pasta. I ate ice. I ate gelato every day.
It's all ingredients. It's all ingredients. And
I had a 6-pack when I came back.
Yeah.
No, and I used to eat. So every day when I had the baby, Phil and I used to go to Greenleaf and I would get this salad. I hated this stupid salad, but it's like the healthy salad with a salmon. Every day. I did not lose a pound. I was starving myself, which isn't healthy. And I know that's, a terrible advice to give. So I had it wrong. I was working out twice a day. I was like, I need my pants to fit over my butt. And I don't want to buy new pants because then I'm giving up. Could not lose weight. And then I started researching this seed oil, cut it out, and then now I eat everything. Wow. But I don't know. I don't even know I got on the seed oil because of the 80.
No, this is it.
But
this is
like our food is so bad.
Do you cook?
I cook. I'm a terrible cook. I make breakfast like amazing. Preparing food, I don't know if it's a little bit of, because I have like diagnosed OCD. Preparing food kind of grosses me out. And when I do, I cook it, but I won't eat it when I've been like dealing with it.
What do you use like in your pan to?
I use ghee. I use Fourth and Heart ghee, organic, non-GMO ghee, or I use, if I have avocado oil, but I try to just use ghee or butter. And all of these stories based around food and the food pyramid and cholesterol, they're all made up, funded stories. And I think that's even hard, especially probably coming from a doctor, which I know, like no disrespect to doctors, but if something is funded, like if I give you $5 billion, because it's in the billions, I'm not talking like, oh, they gave you $5,000. If I give you $5 billion and you're writing the food pyramid and I say, I own a canola oil company, so make that number 2. And you're like, okay, but my price is 7. I go, here's $7 billion. It's a funded study. You can study anything and give a good and bad fact to it. That's why everything is really a lens of, we can argue it forever because someone could be like, well, I read a study that canola oil cures brain cancer. Okay, who wrote the study? Who did the study? Who paid for the study? I'm just going off what I read and what I believe. But if you even look at the food pyramid now.
First off, if any of the money comes from the pharmaceutical companies, it's crap. So pretty much every study in America.
Well, they fund the CDC and FDA and they derive the food pyramid in these classrooms. So growing up, when I was young, milk was funding, big dairy was funded by Big Pharma. And Big Pharma started putting an array of antibiotics and hormones in dairy. And they were giving them trillions of dollars. And when I was young, everywhere you went, I was told, if you don't drink like 6 glasses of milk, your bones are going to break. And all these celebrities had milk.
Mustache.
And Jennifer Aniston was like naked with her milk. So I just remember pounding milk. Now we're like, don't drink milk, drink oat milk. Oat milk is crap, by the way. Sorry. It's made of seed oil unless you make your own, or there's like one good brand, I think 2. That's like $12 for a little thing. But in any sense, you just have to realize, like, it's okay to just go back to the basics. Like, we didn't have it that wrong with food, with disease, with, you know, people love to talk about vaccines and how, you know, vaccines eradicated. A lot
Oatmeal
of
and
disease was
eggs.
eradicated by proper plumbing systems and sewage system years before any. It's just okay in any sense. I don't even get onto that, but it's okay to go back to like taking some food, throwing it with some butter. You're not going to get heart disease from having butter with your food. That's also a story. They did studies on cholesterol. They did it with mice and humans. When nobody's cholesterol rose from finite amounts of butter, it actually rose more from the studies with seed oil. With the same.
I'm going to stay away from seed oil. I never knew that.
Well, it's everywhere, so good luck.
I don't know if we use it or not,
Do
but I'm
you
going
use
to
canola?
No, I don't.
You guys,
I
you
just
guys
use butter.
spray anything in
No.
your pans?
No, I
I'm
don't.
laughing to myself too, because I did Guida, the OC Dentist podcast, and we talked about seed oils for like 45 minutes. And I was like, you better cut this.
I do
because
butter.
It's so ridiculous to even.
No, these are facts that people need to survive and to
You
live
guys
better.
need to know this. This is my one. If this is my legacy on this earth, I'm going to go out. I always joke. I'm going to go out disparaging seed oil.
Seed oil, God.
Big seed oil is coming for me if I go anywhere.
Can we change gears and go
Yes.
over to your mental health?
Yes, I would love to.
I really want to talk about that for a bit.
Yes.
What you do, you know, the events you put on, stuff like that.
Maybe if we started with that, I wouldn't have spent 20 minutes on seed oil. I
Yeah,
apologize.
I like it. Our audience likes everything.
Oh, I
They
love
like-
your audience.
And we're going to piece it out, so we're going to cut.
They seem nicer than my audience. Okay.
Oh, wait, whoa. We're going to cut what?
No, we're going to do reels.
Oh, okay.
We're going to
Okay,
cut
Yeah,
this
crazy.
don't you
Real.
dare put the seed oil in a reel. I
No.
can't handle the comments.
I'm putting-
People are really like for seed oil, by the way. They like it.
So my wife was on your podcast
She was.
dealing with her mental health and sharing her story, which is
She
kind of a
was.
crazy, wild story.
She was. It was one of my top listened to episodes.
Oh, really?
It did extraordinarily well.
Wow.
I still get messages about it of people who are just so inspired and helped. And I think even me telling her, I think she's so humble where it's hard to believe that you could have such an impact on strangers. But I still, to this day, I've sent her a few, and I know like compliments come. I still get messages from strangers who are like, you know, that episode of the woman who was taken and her husband and her shame, like I was taken and raped in college and I never told my husband, and that helped me have the bravery. Or I have messages from people who are like, I went through
great.
something similar and I still feel afraid to even tell close friends. And I think that's the beautiful part of telling your story with all of the, you know, negative self-talk or people that might judge you or family members that might discredit you. Or it's when you have something where you help people and you don't even comprehend the magnitude, where even one person, but so many people, what a blessing.
Yeah, I mean, I know that there's a lot of shame and guilt in different things because, you know, addiction carries a lot of shame and people are afraid. And there's a stigma, right? There's a
Of course.
stigma. There's a stigma attached to both of those things.
Of course.
But when we can become so vulnerable that we can tell our truth, like our absolute truth, that's when our authentic self truly comes out. And I'm gonna quote something that Tim Story says. That's when you become in alignment to your assignment, is when you are completely your authentic self. That is when you are capable of creating the most change in society.
I have to write that one down. I haven't heard that, but I love it.
Which part? The alignment to your assignment?
I love it.
So we're going to introduce you to Mr. Tim Story. He is a world shaker and a
He's actually he's called the comeback coach.
Yeah.
He is the life coach to any celebrity that has ever any celebrity you see that has a problem on
So
the
all
news,
of them.
any TMZ guy.
Yeah,
So every celebrity,
they call him.
he's a busy man.
yeah.
He is a busy man.
Yeah.
He actually has joined and partnered with my Infinity Group company, which my Infinity Group is my main company. It's my real job. And
Maybe your financially lucrative job.
Yeah.
this I feel like this is my real job.
Yeah, I always say, like, all my
Yeah.
jobs. Someone just recently asked me, like, how do you make money from the podcast? And I was like, I actually don't take ads, but it's my real job. You know, I have financially more lucrative spaces, but that's my job. I love doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love doing this. I miss it when sometimes we'll go, because we're way out ahead. We have probably like 20 podcasts that haven't been released yet.
I'm like that too.
Yeah. In the beginning, we were just sitting here. Sometimes we do like 3 in a day.
You guys got a lot to say.
We love it.
I need a nap after.
Yeah, it is tiring.
I get tired after sharing too much.
Once I get rolling though, I can keep rolling. But
that's good.
All right, let's focus. Let's get back.
Alignment to your assignment.
Yeah.
So I got involved. I said a little bit about my upbringing, and I think it would even be hard to describe a story. I wrote a book about my childhood, and even writing the stories, sometimes I read them and they're so like wildly unbelievable because I don't relate to them. Like I don't align you know what I mean? It's like almost like I lied to myself for so many years and to the people around me, where I'll be reading something and I'm like, this isn't me, I'm exaggerating, or this, I'm embarrassed because this doesn't even, and I loved when people met my family and they were like, you're so lucky. And, I liked feeling that good feeling of being, people want to be more like you. But I had this just crazy, crazy upbringing where I look back and maybe I lied for so many years that it's like a new trauma even, because I just recently launched this foundation and I started being more vulnerable, which is also an ironic thing because my platform, so to speak, I'm not like a huge to-do, but my platform was always built off of being accountable with yourself and authentic and transparent. But there's so many things that I wasn't transparent with, and I'm still not. I always say like I'll be transparent about things when I feel safe to do so, because if not, yes, I get a stomach ache and I feel weird and pressured. But there are just so many memories of me being left places or left, like at a drug dealer's house and nobody would come back for me. And I always felt this deep rooted fear of abandonment and alone and not enough. And like, why do all my friends get someone to pick them up and I'm sitting in the corner? Like I would like hide when all the teachers were leaving at 5 because I don't want them to judge me that I was still there. And like, just all of these weird feelings or like little things. I've said this on everywhere I've ever spoken, but the dentist was a thing for me because it was something that like I wasn't allowed to do because my mom was like, if you go to the dentist, they'll call CPS because too much time has passed. And I remember being like, everyone else gets to do that. I'm weird and I'm different, but we have a nice new car in the driveway, so I'm lucky. And just always this feeling of not even belonging on this earth. And I always felt just this deep subconscious isolation and depression. And I'm not saying it was the worst scenario. I was very blessed to have a roof over my head and food on the table. And I was never, like living with, an abuser or somebody who was sexually assaulting me or something to that capacity, but just weird things where I didn't feel like I belonged on this earth. So I worked really hard to change it instead of lean into it and to be that like perfect, like I get good grades and I'm lucky and I'm going to have a lot of friends. Like I devoted so much time into friends, but it was all kind of a facade of this made up identity, right? Of like, oh no, my parents are here, but really my grandpa was in Betty Ford and they're all there in court because he was drunk and ran over a guy. Yeah. True story. And like every night was a chaos. The police, my mom had to drive here. Like just nothing was safe or sacred. And so when I was in my early 20s, I was involved in a crazy crime, just a really horrific crime. And in that, I had the same mindset. I remember I was like, I can't tell anyone. And I had all these injuries. I was like, I can't tell anyone. I had to go do all these things. And nobody showed up for me. Like my parents would be fighting and they would have their own. And I remember being like, okay, I have to be strong. This is my fault. Like I brought this on. And then just every little bad thing that would happen, I would internalize it as like, no, I just need to be better. I just need to be better. And I was walking this tightrope of this fake perfectionism and I just fell off. I fell face first. I didn't sleep at night. When I had my accident, I was prescribed 22 medications. I'd never taken medication because I didn't want to end up, an addict. And luckily, I believe, to me and studies, addiction is a disease, but luckily I don't have that disease. But I was prescribed Xanax. I was prescribed Ambien. I was prescribed Adderall to wake up. I was prescribed Zofran because this one made me nauseous, but then this because the Zofran made me constipated, and then this, and then this other pill. And my life was this myriad of medication to survive and illness. I was diagnosed with 7 autoimmune diseases. I could not get out of bed. I was in the hospital. I could not breathe. They put a breathing machine in me at one point. Just an array of health issues. And I succumbed to them. I was like, well, this is me. I'm unwell. This is, like, I'm sick. And I just started to get that mindset of like, I'm not going to heal. Like, I deserve to be sick. Like, I come from broken. I'm broken. And I think when I was maybe like 28 or 29, somebody had approached me from the California court system. And they were like, when you testified, you spoke so eloquently, and we would love to have you speak to a victim advocate group. And it's not filmed, it's not posted, because I was like, I don't want this posted. I'm like, my neurosis of I can't be found out. And they were like, no, it's private. And so I was like, I'll go, whatever. And I went, and I remember I went somewhere in LA, and they met me with judgment, and they were kind of like, who's this girl and whatever. And I was angry that they were judging me, and I kind of was like, you guys don't know, And then I decided to go again. I don't know why. And I changed my perspective a little. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to be a little more vulnerable and not tell people the lie, because they were judging the lie, right? I was like, oh, like I just testified because it's easy and I'm good at it. And I realized in that, like, a few people reached out to me after, because I gave them my information. I didn't have to. And then from that, I got asked back, and I just started doing little things here or there. And I'd always done philanthropic work, but in this kind of like scope of that I'm better, or I'm, because it's for me. And I started just doing things for other people and trying to shift, like, maybe I'm problematic in what I'm doing and how I'm living my life. And maybe I shouldn't be on all these medicines, and maybe I can heal myself, which this wasn't an overnight thing, but I'm trying to save time. And I just started doing all of this just radical healing work. And I really just dove into like really being accountable. And I even lied to my therapist for like 10 years. That's how bad it was. Like, I would go to therapy and be like, I don't know, I just don't sleep at night. I think I have insomnia. And I just started being like more radically honest. And I learned I really wanted other people to feel like they could do that too. And I wanted other people to know, like, my Instagram, which was this made up facade of, gowns and events and stuff. Yeah. That like, I just started attaching more honesty with it. Like, I'm in a gown today, but like my stomach is stapled shut, like at this event. And, it's also a huge privilege to be at this event, but I just want you to know it was really hard for me to get here. And like, I had a panic attack on the way there, and today wasn't perfect, or, today was perfect, and don't shame me for that. Or, some things are amazing. But I just really started working with people struggling with PTSD specifically, because that's what I struggle with really bad. And ultimately derived the foundation and the podcast, and we focus primarily on PTSD and CPTSD because it's something that I think people correlate with a huge incident. Or
what is CPSD, so people can understand?
CPTSD is complex PTSD. No. So PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder, and we'll attribute it to, like, you were in 9/11, or you lost a parent, or you were a veteran. You went through a crazy one-off trauma. But CPTSD is prolonged trauma. And it's really anything that causes prolonged discomfort to your nervous system that we write off as like people telling you, don't be too sensitive, or like going through addiction, you have CPTSD. Going through divorce, I mean, unless it was the world's easiest divorce, you have CPTSD. Going through, a loved one having an illness, or yourself having an illness, all these things will put it into your body and your system. They do brains. I scan my brain with Dr. Raymond. They do scans on brains of people who have a myriad of things, and 100% of them have CPTSD, where their amygdala has grown and their hippocampus has shrunk, which is your memory. That's why people with trauma have brain fog. It's really because your brain has changed, your neurochemistry has changed, and your amygdala has grown, which is your fight or flight response. So if somebody taps you and you scream, that's from your brain. It's not your fault. And so I just wanted to normalize knowledge around these things. And I don't always get up and have to tell my story. I love hearing other people's stories. And I love when people feel brave to share their story, or when people say, you know what, I don't want to ever share my story, but I just want to heal. And that's okay too. And like you guys here telling your story, you're huge. Like if you're not watching the video, they're huge, like muscular, strong men. And that takes a lot of gumption and like chutzpah to be this big, strong, like man in society and go on and be vulnerable and tell your story and like help other people. So I just want to normalize that communication as a society, because when we communicate, we have that space to grow. And like right now as a society, we are mentally ill. We are the most mentally ill in my opinion, in the world.
For sure.
And
I think so.
That's not,
too.
that's not a study. It's not proven, but we are so mentally unwell and kids are so mentally unwell. And adolescence is such a time now where just kids are throwing this dopamine and this cortisol and this pain and their parents' trauma. And I see parents with zero emotional regulation, and it breaks me because like we all deserve that. So I think when we can share our story, it's just such like a rewarding thing. And if not for yourself, like even selfishly, that's okay too. But the one person you help is just like, it's such a reward. It's such a like, what if that's why we're here too? What if we got it all wrong and we were here to go through these things to help others and to share and to be vulnerable?
I believe that.
I do too.
I believe that 100%. If you're not helping someone today, you're losing in your life.
No, and I mean, the old notion was, if you went around 10 years ago, even with women and miscarriages, you're not supposed to talk about that. If you went around as a man 20 years ago and you're struggling because you were in a war and you're crying, people judge you. Or if you 30 years ago, the whole thing was shut the hell up. Don't be too sensitive. Don't be a wussy. Don't cry.
Yeah.
So I think it's just okay to, like, maybe we can all as a society change that. We would all have to be on the same page, but...
Well, here's the thing, though. The obesity, look at the life expectancy.
Especially right now, huh?
Wishful thinking.
It is.
But,
We've got pendulums swung like
Look
this.
at
But you said if you can't believe it and perceive it.
Right?
I mean, I believe that my podcast, that this podcast, I only say mine because it started because of a tragedy, but this is like, really, it's like the people's podcast, and Shane and I.
Can you share that with me, or are we out of time?
Which part?
We have
Just
lots
why
of
you
time.
decided to start it, the tragedy behind it. Because I know you said today was a really important day to you, and I didn't get the story.
Yeah, I can share that. You threw me off.
I apologize.
No worries. Yeah, today is really it's a really special day because 1 year ago today. So it was a Sunday. A year ago today was a Sunday. I was at home. I was doing my normal routine. I was shaving my head and getting ready to go to the gym. 7:30 a.m. Sunday morning, and my phone started ringing. I looked down, and it was my daughter. She was 21 years old at the time, and I looked down, and I was like, "Yikes!" She never calls me at 7:30 a.m. unless there's something wrong. Like usually, like maybe I thought in my head it was a car accident, that she got in a car accident or something like that. And I answered the phone, and when I answered it and I said hello, what I heard was somebody screaming, her screaming, the scream that you know somebody on that is dead. And when she was screaming, before she even said to me that Justin is gone, I knew that Justin was gone. I knew that she had found him. And he, we have a real epidemic in the United States right now, and that epidemic is called fentanyl.
1,000%.
And that Saturday night, he bought a Percocet off of the street that he thought was a Percocet, and it was fentanyl. And he smoked it, and he never woke up. And she found him at 7:30 a.m. So today's, you're here on a day. This is the only podcast I think we're doing today, right? So to me, it means a lot. We're releasing a very cool podcast today, sometime today, of myself, my daughter, and then we had this like famous medium in here,
Persian
medium.
Okay, I know who she is.
Yeah. So she came in, and we're gonna release that today. Part of my healing process was that I wasn't going to let his death be in vain. I own drug and alcohol treatment centers. It's what I've done for 22 years of my life. I decided that I was going to be a voice for people that have lost their voice, and for the family members that can't talk. I mean, we have friends that have lost their kids, and they're not even ready to get on these microphones yet. Eventually I will get them on here, but I'm going to be that voice. I'm not going to allow this to go unnoticed. And this is what God had put on my heart, and we did it. I put together a podcast, and next thing you know, Shane and I are doing a podcast. We had no idea what we're doing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And this podcast has literally like blown up.
That's incredible.
And I'm not shocked, because like for me, this is a gift to society from God. And I also want to use this platform to try to bring people back together. Because what if the fentanyl crisis is the one thing that all of us in America have in common is pain, right?
Of course.
And like if you can't sit and listen to what I have to say politically, right? Because that's the issue. That's the big issue in America right now. That there's probably some trauma and some pain there.
Of course.
That needs to be dealt with, because even if he doesn't believe what I believe or has the same political view as I have, I should be able to sit in a room with him and have a discussion about it, and it not blow up into riots and stupid stuff that's going on in America, And now we have another election coming up. Wonder what they got up their sleeves this time, And here's the thing: I have a political side, yes, I do. But usually when I talk crap about politics on this podcast, this isn't a political podcast, I do talk about my side, because my side is just as guilty at the dividing the Americans as the other side is. Because they sit there and they've got to bash on our whole political system has become, let's bash the other guy.
Well, I think it's the media, personally. I don't think it should be one side. I think the media is very toxic.
Oh, horrifically toxic.
But I do agree that pain is something we do all share. And this is if not the biggest crisis. And it should be something we can all come together on, because there's an array of reasons that we're here, and it does affect everyone.
Yeah. 300 people, the current numbers, and I don't go by CDC numbers, because we all know CDC numbers are crap. 300 people are dying every single day from fentanyl. That's it's more than anything.
Yeah.
That's a very large airplane going down. I mean, we looked it up yesterday or last week. It's the number one cause of death.
No, it is.
For 18 to 45, 16 to 45 or something. Yeah.
Which really is life. I mean, of course.
16 to 45.
Adult life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait until you get over 45. You really start hitting your stride.
Yeah.
Right, Shane?
Wait till you hit 55, bro.
Well, I think a lot of
You don't know.
statistics, there's arguments against that they derive from being older. At least when I bring up statistics on cancer or heart disease, people say they're older.
It does say 18 to 45. I want to get it right. Leading cause of death, fentanyl overdose.
Well, and I think it's another thing that triggers people, because to say it's the biggest issue, perhaps take away from an issue they've experienced. Like during COVID, I know we're still in COVID, but during the height of COVID, I posted a lot about statistics of fentanyl and of medical error and of, young people overdosing and killing themselves, and domestic abuse going up by the thousands of percentages. And I got a lot of pushback by the people who were like, well, my uncle died of COVID, so F you, this is the biggest issue. And that's where I always get into with trauma. Trauma doesn't discriminate. Issues we share don't discriminate. But if this many people are dying and it is the number one cause of death in this age range, we should all be coming together. It's not to say your uncle dying of COVID is also not a huge issue and prevalent, but this statistically is a bigger issue, And I think that's hard to hear if you've experienced something else. It's okay to look at a number on a wall and say statistically, this could impact my child. This could impact, because it could statistically. And I think if we did all come together, it's the biggest crisis. It's actually insane.
It's insane. I've worked in this industry for like I said, 22 years, and the first 18 years of me working in this industry, and now we're in the fentanyl era of this industry, which is the last 4 years. I've seen more death combined than the whole 18 years. The whole 18 years combined, probably in 1 year.
No, it's absolutely insane. I was telling you, I mean, growing up here, even I think there was a lot of addiction. As anywhere I was reading, there's a lot of addiction in Connecticut or anywhere, I guess. But the amount of people I know who have passed away from fentanyl, and I hate to admit it because it sounds terrible, I'm almost numb to it. And I don't mean that, obviously, to a story like the one you're telling me, but just when I get the phone call of somebody who I know was maybe abusing, like you're saying though, like I know it's coming.
Yeah.
And that's such a sad thing to even admit, because I don't want to admit that. Like you could have done something. It's like, I don't know what to do. It's just so harrowing. It's a harrowing fact that it's everywhere.
Yeah. There's no other drug out really on the street anymore. Like you can't do cocaine. You can't, if you don't buy weed from an actual dispensary, you buy it off the street. It contains fentanyl. Cocaine, meth contains, not that meth is like
pills. I think all the kids are taking pills.
And we'll see, and that's the difference too, because a lot of kids and first-time drug users, first-time people trying, are the people that are dying. Addicts out on the streets aren't dying left and right.
No, it's a lot of young children getting a pill to take a pain pill with their friends.
Yeah, like my son-in-law. So the other point about it is that when I was a kid, the opiate was heroin, and like in high school, like there's no way I was gonna shoot black tar heroin into my veins.
God.
That wasn't gonna be the first drug I ever tried. Ecstasy maybe, because that was a pill, but now you can't even take ecstasy because it's fentanyl.
Yeah, it's just a different time. I wouldn't.
It's all
want to take any drug now.
No, you can't. There's no such thing as a recreational.
It's actually nice to be clean and sober. I love it.
Of course. Well, and I think it's nice because the probability of dropping and not surviving it is so high.
So high.
You know, I keep Narcan in my car. I keep Narcan in my bag.
Yeah.
I don't use drugs. I keep it everywhere I go because the probability of someone I know taking a drug, the probability of at the park there's a drug, that's a sad realization. I've worked with a lot of groups that help with, addiction recovery. They're getting Narcan handed out, and it's astounding that needs to be our reality where Narcan is kept in classrooms.
I know you get a lot of calls, and you're deep in mental health, PTSD in the area. We really focus here on veterans and mental health and PTSD and trauma. We have 3 licenses with the VA.
That's incredible.
For veterans. We do a ketamine for them for their PTSD and trauma.
I love that. I just finished my ketamine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You did it?
Yeah, so we do that.
That's
so
who my partner is with my foundation.
Nice. EMDR, CBT, DBT, all of that kind of stuff. So the Hopeaholics is sponsored by the Infinity Group, and we give away scholarships.
Oh,
so we'd like to, maybe if you have someone in the next month or 2 months that that needs a scholarship.
Incredible. I do have someone actually. That's so incredible.
We'd
that's so nice.
We'd help you out and
I could cry.
See what we can do. Yeah, for sure.
That is the kindest thing. I really appreciate that. That's so lovely. Well, now I'm just so happy I'm here.
Yeah.
I was just thinking to myself, I almost feel bad for your listeners because there's so many topics we could talk about all day when you say
I know
the veterans and the ketamine.
There's so much
I'm
stuff.
obsessed with the ketamine.
How's it doing for you? Like, what's your experience behind that? Because we have great success with
I was absolutely terrified of the ketamine. I resisted it for a year, and I had done years of the EMDR. And the EMDR, I think EMDR is incredible as well. But for me personally, it sometimes re-traumatized me because I would be telling these stories and remembering things that I had repressed, and it really affected me negatively. And the ketamine, my aunt had actually tried to push on me, and we got in an argument about it, and we seldom argue. And she was like, you need to do it. And I was like, I'm not doing that drug. I've never done mushrooms or, I really hate being on anything where you can't control it. So like I took Molly at Coachella once, and I was like, okay, I'm done. Yeah. And I couldn't be done.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. I ate a weed brownie once. I called 911. I'm kind of a PUSSY with drugs. Like I'm so afraid.
Good.
I have no tolerance. 2 drinks and I'm drunk. I have low tolerance. So I finally agreed, much to like, I did not want to do this. And I did it once, and I was crying in there. They had to give me a calmer in it, like a benzo. And I did it, and it was the most profound hour that I had in 10 years of healing work, so to speak. I went back, and it was the craziest experience because I asked him to stop it at one point because they did the push at the end.
And it hurt, yeah.
And I was like, I don't like this. And so they put some saline or whatever in it, and I immediately felt better. And I was like, okay, you can start again, which I liked for me. And it was so profound that I was like, okay, sign me up, you know?
Wow.
But I literally went back to my childhood, and everyone's experience is different, but I was walking through my childhood home, and I don't remember much of my childhood. I don't remember anything except just horrific things, which is sad because I'm sure there were lovely moments in between. But I walked through, and it was like me in my childhood bedroom, and she was like crying alone. Like I used to just sit in there, and I don't know where anyone was. And I just like grabbed her, and I took her, and I walked her out of the room as adult me, like how I would with my daughter. And I was like, you are better than this. You don't deserve this. You're safe. And I like held her because I always hold my chest when I, feel anxiety. I even do right now saying this because it's, it's deep to me and it might sound hokey to someone else. And I just like grabbed childhood me and I walked her, and I walked through all these scenarios in my childhood that just plagued me that I've never told a soul. And one was I was like alone at this water park and this guy. And one was I was alone at this, always alone, and this fear of being alone. And I just said, like, you're not alone. You're safe. This is not right. Like, you think this is right. And I like came to, or, whatever. I don't know the proper terminology. And I was like, holy crap. Like, I feel peace. Like, I felt this peace that I've never felt in my life. And I was like, okay, sign me up. I'm
That's
doing
amazing.
it. And so I did it. I just did a podcast on it with my doctor who did it. But I wish everyone could do ketamine. And he speaks, I didn't memorize, the numbers or studies on it because he came on, and he's actually a doctor from Cedars who had researched it and studied immensely. But when he was reading me the stats and the studies, it's just incredible how proven helpful it is with our brains. And in the comparison to benzos, which is, your Xanax or your Valium, or in comparison to your antidepressant, SSRI, and the long-term help. And I just wish everyone on this earth could even do it, which sounds, because it's a drug. Like my sister-in-law sent me this thing, and she just Googled the word ketamine and was like, is this what you're doing? Because it's like a street drug. And I was like, no, I'm doing ketamine for PTSD. You have to Google that. I wish everyone knew that piece I feel since I've started it in certain aspects that I didn't feel, that I had buried somewhere else, that I would never, openly admit, because it's humiliating to be talking about something and you still battle it, right? I'm talking about healing all these things, but I still suffer from them sometimes. And so I think it's so profound.
That's the best teacher. Even yesterday Saturday, we were listening to a famous doctor, and he helps people with addiction, and he accepts the fact that he has himself codependency. He's a normal person, doctor, but he has
so most doctors and nurses are either codependents or narcissists.
Yeah, so he has a codependent tendencies. You know what I mean? So yeah, see, there you go.
No, and the amount of people with addiction.
You can go anywhere. You could go anywhere and talk. I would
go everywhere, you guys.
Because you are unbelievable.
I talk to everyone. I talk to the Starbucks guy. If you talk to 10 people a day, it helps your brain.
In special places. I meant doing special things because your words are.
At Starbucks is
your
special.
words are incredible.
No, if you talk to 10 strangers a day, it helps your neuroplasticity, and that's why in the history people used to talk to people at the market. You'd be like, hi, how's your morning? And now everyone's on their phone and assholes. And if you talk to them, they're like, freak, predator. I've had people think I'm a predator. Like I bought this guy's son his coffee because I was watching him count change.
Right.
And he's like, can you not? I was like, sorry, I just like talking to people.
Yeah.
Freak. But yeah, the amount it helps people in addiction. And my friend Danielle, you guys should have her on. She's absolutely incredible. But she struggled with addiction and bipolar for years. And this is someone I've watched. I called 911 when I watched her almost take her life. I watched her relapse. She was pushing the ketamine on me as well. And she wanted to come on and talk about her experience. And I wasn't against it. It just wasn't something for me. Yeah. I was like, what do you mean a drug? I didn't do the research behind it.
Yeah.
And then I started researching it when I had the time, and I was like, okay, and now she's working in these centers helping people.
Wow.
Awesome.
And she's telling her story in a, efficient way to help others where if you asked me if she would be doing that, I would say no, she wouldn't be here.
Yeah. We'd love to have her on.
Yeah. It helps addiction.
Yeah. We use it. Our psychiatrist is all about it. She believes in it.
And it genuinely helps addiction.
Yeah. It helps addiction, trauma. It actually even helps a certain pain.
It helps pain. I haven't researched the pain stuff enough. I'm really weird about anything with pain. It's hard. I don't know.
Sometimes a lot of pain.
I think a lot of pain is mental.
It is mental.
And so it's hard.
But it's real pain. The
physical is real. Our brain-body connection
creates that pain.
The fibromyalgia and all these things, they derive from a mental.
Yeah, when you can heal fibromyalgia.
It's funny you mentioned that.
By healing.
Healing what?
The trauma in your brain.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Because this girl today, I was just about to get into the plunge, and she was getting out, and it was a Three Fingers daughter. Travis. Travis has got three fingers. I forgot his name.
What a terrible nickname. I'm sorry, Travis.
We love him. His daughter said, "Yeah, I have fibromyalgia, and the cold plunge was really helping."
I would hate that to be my nickname. Oh, Four Fingers.
No, sorry. His name was Three Dog. Three Dog. That's his nickname.
Even
Three Dog.
Worse. Three Fingers is worse.
Three Dog is a little bit better, right?
Three Dog is a little bit less inconspicuous. Yeah. Three Fingers Travis.
Yeah, Three Fingers Travis.
These three.
He's a Vietnam veteran.
Yeah.
Good guy.
I think. Okay.
Have you been in next level fitness?
I have not.
No.
If you're ever having like back pain, joint pain, like literal like workout pain.
Yeah.
Dr. Voss.
Yeah, we have a good guy. We have a guy. Unbelievable.
Send me the guy.
Yeah.
I like having everyone. I have a Rolodex of guys.
Yeah.
Not like that.
We don't have your number.
Oh.
I do have a Rolodex though of guys and places and things.
Yeah.
Because I write down anything I ever did that like didn't help me, that I got ripped off, or any doctor that ever ripped me off. I don't disparage people, but I write them all in here with how much and what worked and what didn't, so people know, so they don't go to the wrong place.
Right.
And then I write down the right place, so I have it.
I wonder.
You're only the second person that's ever come in with a notebook.
Who was the first?
I don't remember.
I can't remember.
Like he was
either.
an 87-year-old guy.
No, it wasn't. It was someone that said, "Oh, there's no questions, nothing. You don't have anything set up or anything." And we're like, "Bro," we're just kind of casual.
I don't know.
I want to read what she writes about us.
So
selfishly.
who did we contact to get a hold of you? Catherine,
my assistant.
Your assistant. Okay, your assistant. And then she called and asked us if what questions we were going to ask.
She always gets like just a brief synopsis of what we'll be talking. Like,
right.
Do you want to talk about endometriosis? Because some people call me specifically for endometriosis. It's a podcast about reproductive disease.
Right.
Nice.
So then I'll kind of just mentally on the way there, I'll think of stuff and stats and, stories and doctors and specialists for that. Or if it's something, if we were just going to talk today about addiction, I'm actually not an expert at addiction by any sense, but I was on the board of Red Songbird with Jason Waller, who I love.
Yeah.
And we did some stuff with Marin. And so I would try and, divvy up something to be maybe more articulate.
Ours is just about hope, man.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, there's so many topics and so many directions because like even people that have addiction problem, it's like there's a mindset behind that, right?
And there's a pain.
There's always a pain.
There's a pain.
Well, your mind, the pain is what causes us to not be able to get past that, whatever that roadblock is. And once we can release that pain, see, I always like to tell people on this podcast, the people, right? Not you, but because you already know, but it's easier to walk through pain than to sit in that pain.
I know. But it's scary.
It's scary.
It is scary.
It's scary for a lot of people, And what if you walk through the pain and you're still in pain?
Yeah.
But my belief is worrying about the pain puts you through it worse.
Yeah. What if?
Going through. Of course.
What if?
I worry a lot.
What if you?
You got the worry gene?
I got the worry gene thing.
He's the Yenta dad.
Yeah.
He's got the worry gene.
Yeah, I do. He knows that. I'm with the doctor. If I feel a little cramp, I go and
Really?
I'm preventative. I'm going to do the full body scan here in the next month or so.
I'm doing the Prunivo.
Yeah, yes, but I'm looking for the wide scan, the wide MRI, because I'm claustrophobic.
Oh, you are a warrior then.
So I'm still looking.
At least you know that about yourself.
I mean, it's
that's
fine.
What makes you feel good.
Whatever it
Different
is.
strokes for. I worry about my health specifically because I've been so screwed over by so many doctors.
See?
But now I just go in and I'm very, I'm pretty diplomatic. This is what we're going to do. If you won't do it, I'll go to someone else until they will. And I take care of it.
Yeah.
But I try not to worry about it.
Well, that's what I meant. I'm an advocate for myself.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a good place to be.
Yeah. Yeah. People don't do that.
They don't.
No. I've been trying to get him to go. He doesn't.
I don't worry. I don't worry that much.
I think it's like anything. I'm like a numbers, clearly,
But there you
statistics
go.
person. And if statistically all of these ailments exist and all of these things go wrong with people, I don't care about who to blame or how to prevent. I'll just every now and then I will check up. And I have had enough trauma to know that trauma in your body causes disease. Trauma in your body causes autoimmune disease. It causes cancer. Stress causes cancer. Endocrine disruptors cause cancer. And unfortunately, a majority of my life, I was surrounded by these things, and even sometimes still. So I do check up, but I try not to think about it too immensely and, wind myself up.
Yeah.
But
And
I do the blood work.
Yeah, I do the
labs.
blood work. Yeah, I do the labs.
I
got a
did the
lab.
scans. I just did the
They
labs.
have a yenta too. I feed the people. I bring them cookies.
Yes.
Like, put me in first.
I have a lab order sitting on my desk right now at my home for my blood work.
I think I have some in here that I never
That's hilarious.
fulfilled.
It's true. I do.
I finally did mine in January, and I was like worried the whole. That's it. I worry when I go get it done, and then the results
There's
are usually
nothing there.
exactly what I expect. Because I don't know. I feel like too. If you really are like in tune mentally and physically, you can feel if there's things wrong with your body, right? But you can also worry things into existence, right?
It's like anything.
Yeah.
It's all relative. You have to.
But for Shane to ease his mind and to not worry for a year.
You guys are such a lovely duo. They really complement each other just so well and precisely.
I'm good with him doing his full body MRI
And
scan.
I love that you're both strong and bald. I don't know why. It just means something to me. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice compliments.
Yeah, we
You're very,
appreciate it.
very, very, very. That's like 4 very well spoken.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't. Yeah. Really.
Oh, well, good. Thank you for
That's
saying
what I was
that.
saying. But you could
Sometimes
go
I
anywhere
don't
and
even
speak
know what
to
I'm
anybody.
You have me at a loss for words.
You know what?
gotcha.
We have to get her with Tim Story again. I'm mentioning it because he has World Shakers for Women. There was 350 women on a thing. He had Diane Hudson on there was speaking. That's Oprah's assistant for 30 years or something. You're a perfect candidate.
That's so kind. I do appreciate the compliment.
For that board.
Sorry, you
And I'll tell you
broke me
what else.
down.
What else we're gonna do is we have a female, Natalie Eva Marie. She's a famous WWE superstar.
Oh, incredible.
And she's a Hopeaholic as well.
That's incredible.
And we would love to have her on your podcast.
Oh, I would love that.
come
So
on.
I don't know her, but my hair stylist does her hair.
Yeah.
So I always see her fabulous
Yeah.
hairdos.
The pink hair.
Pink hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the name from the hair.
Yeah. So
She's-
we'd love. Yeah,
she's
we get
awesome.
on. Yeah, she's awesome.
So I'm a fan
is-
of her hair.
Yeah.
She has
So
a
am
name.
I. I'm getting my beard pink.
Yeah, we're gonna donate
$1,000 if I
$1,000
do it.
for him when he.
To a charity.
Oh, you should do it in Breast Cancer Month. It's October, I believe.
Is it? Okay. Yeah. Well, that's coming up right now.
I
And that's-
believe.
Yeah.
Don't
It is
quote me, but I
October.
think it's October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
October.
Yeah.
All the NFL wears pink cleats.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my month to shine. I love pink.
Yeah. We're gonna do that.
See, I think that straight men can sparkle too.
I think so.
We
I
don't-
agree.
We don't have to be like I think sparkling for a man is to be vulnerable and to be in touch with his feelings and know what's going on with him.
Yeah.
Because you know what? If I know that stuff about myself, I'm able to treat my significant other the
Well,
way
and your
that she-
children.
Yeah.
and my children.
I think
yeah.
to be vulnerable as a
Yeah.
man prior to having children is the greatest gift you can give your
I'm
children.
not sure I was completely vulnerable when I had my first
And that's okay.
one.
That's okay. We're all
or
ever
my second
evolving.
one. My kids are old.
You have 2, right?
3, two of my own, and then I have
A third.
an amazing stepdaughter.
That's incredible.
That's 15 and
Yeah.
super talented.
Yeah.
But look how blessed she is now that you've acquired this knowledge over the years and you
Right.
can give it to her.
Yeah. Totally.
And my son is he's great. He's a senior in high school, a varsity basketball player, 4.2 grade point average.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. He's a
Yeah,
good
me
guy.
too.
Sporty and smart.
Yeah.
Sporty and smart. Yep.
Yeah.
That's the best. Just so my 15-year-old hears this. The best guys to pick are the nerds that go to the gym.
Oh, of course.
Shane and I are actually just nerds that go to the gym.
Yeah.
The best guys romantically.
Yes.
I've dated every guy romantically. I love dating. Because I love talking and learning about people.
Yes.
So to me, I was like a free meal and I get to learn someone's crazy. And I would always be like analyzing, like, what's their weird thing? And I've dated every guy. And what I've learned is nerdy, physically fit though, because your health is everything. And the mindset behind being healthy takes a very strong mindset to take care of yourself, which is the sad truth about society. It should not. But I don't know. I like dorks.
Yeah.
I like the dorks.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
A dorky guy is a lot more authentic than a guy that's like.
I like foreigners. I love foreign guys.
Foreign?
Yeah. There's a lot of family values in other places.
I agree.
Not to generalize all, but
No, I'm with you.
A majority.
More ethnic.
But I dated a lot of athletes. I think 100% of them cheated on me. So thank you to the athletes for that. But yeah.
100% of them.
100%.
100%.
The athletes.
But not to generalize athletes. There are some lovely athletes, and a lot of my friends are married to athletes, and I think they're incredible husbands and fathers. But I was, when you're young, and anyways, I like the dorks. We can get off this topic.
Yeah,
starting to get uncomfortable.
Yeah, so was I.
Not so articulate now.
So what are you doing every day to better yourself? You're cold plunging.
I do cold plunge. Not every day, which I should. My family all does every day, and they inspire me so much. I have the best family, not my direct family, but my extended family, and they send me we're in a little family group text, and they always send me them all doing it together, and it's really cute. And they're 2 daughters that I love more than anything. Every morning I get up and I do a stretching video. It's an 8-minute video on YouTube. And it's some girl, and I listen to like Enya radio, or I'll listen to rap, depends on my mood. And I do an 8-minute stretch because I really firmly believe in flexibility as we get older. So I can do the splits all 3 ways.
Good for you.
Yeah, I'm very flexible. And being flexible is just so prevalent to staying healthy.
Yes.
There's that study. If you stand up, you can be from sitting on your butt to standing up. You have like 7 more years on your life. I don't know the exact number of years. And if you can't, you're like going to die sooner. So that scared me from a young age because I have the anxiety.
Wow. Thank you for that.
And then while I do the stretching video, when I'm in the forward stretches, I just write down like 10 goals that I kind of write them down until one comes true, and I switch it out. Or, I always write like the health of my daughter because she has this one little weird genetic thing. And I'll write, like this long-term goal, maybe a financial one, maybe a spiritual one. But for me, obviously, writing is my thing. You could say it out loud. You could do whatever you want. But I do that, and that kind of starts my day, and I really feel like that's good for me. I try to work out every day. I don't get to every day now because I work and have a kid, and I have construction, life. But for the most part, I get in something. And to me, that's makes me feel good.
You got to start the morning like that.
Yeah, every morning I eat 2 Brazil nuts right out of bed for selenium. It's the best thing as a woman. And if you're a man, it keeps your hair from going gray. You guys need to know this.
I color mine.
Yeah.
It's too late for me, I think.
Yeah.
Because the beard is already gray.
Yeah, mine's
just
white.
I have a whole little weird quirky thing, but it's so personalized to me. Everyone.
No, I do. I have a similar
what kind
thing.
of nuts?
2 organic Brazil nuts every morning.
Just 2 of them?
Yeah, the selenium is just so helpful to a woman's thyroid and our hormones.
Awesome.
I actually took a picture of I sent it to a friend this morning. Organic Brazil nuts.
I'm going to buy some for my wife.
That's this morning.
Brazilian nuts, organic Brazilian nuts. I'm on it.
6:49 a.m.
I'm on it.
My Brazil nut.
I texted Chad at 3 at 2:57 just before you were awake.
Yeah, you did. My alarm went off at 3 a.m.
These are them. I slept terrible last night, so.
I get up at 3 a.m. is my.
That takes a lot of mental tenacity, and that's so inspirational. And those things, if you can do that, by the way, what it says about your mind and your will for life, like they say, like the 4 a.m. club, the 3 a.m. club. Yeah. I could never get up at 3 a.m. and I have a baby who sometimes gets up at 3 a.m. I'm like, I don't think I've slept in a year, but if you can do that and you can keep those promises to yourself, it changes your lens on the whole world because you love yourself enough to give yourself that extra time, and that's huge. I personally can't do that. I will say can't because I'll go clinically insane. But it's extraordinary that you do that. I'm very impressed.
Yeah. I get up at 5, but I'll tell you something that's weird is because of the tragedy a year ago, in my brain, I said, get up with Chad. I said it last night, and 2:58, I got up.
Yeah, it's funny.
And I sent
Your brain is so powerful.
And
he sent me a nice message saying that he was thinking about me and my family.
Yeah.
That's so incredible.
Yeah, because I knew he was going to get up in 2 minutes later.
And those are the people you need in your life. What an incredible friend.
I
said, they're the
believe
cutest
how many
duo.
messages I've received today.
Oh, I wish I knew. I would have tried to do something kind or had something kind done.
I want to tell you what's weird was a year ago when it happened, I don't know where I was.
Well, because to you, it was likely just another day until
like
you found
I can't,
out, no?
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like I wasn't at the funeral. I wasn't really by your side.
We didn't have the funeral.
Yeah.
We were.
Was I? I can't remember. I was here, but
a year ago we were just bringing in veterans.
Yeah.
That's all we were doing.
That's all we were doing.
We didn't have a podcast. We were just, I think you were working from home mostly.
Yeah.
Or maybe you were here. I don't know. I'm not sure if you were here.
I'm not sure either.
I do know that around 3 o'clock, somewhere around 3 o'clock, I sent out a text to, I have like my executive team on a text to let them know that what happened.
Right.
Because I wasn't sure if I was going to, I don't think I came to work on Monday.
Yeah.
Because it was a Sunday.
Yeah.
I took a few days off because it was really hard on my daughter.
Of course.
Like really, really hard.
And that's the worst pain as a parent, seeing your child hurt.
I posted a picture yesterday. I actually have a picture.
So it was amazing, bro. Amazing.
How many people do you think
I don't
cried
know.
from that?
I don't.
You
I
know,
think a lot. I did.
Thousands of
I have
people.
to follow you.
I did.
Thousands of people saw that.
It was a picture of his son hugging his daughter.
So I went and my wife and I immediately got in the car, met her over at Justin's dad's house. And the cops were there. We went and got some coffee. We came back, interviewed with the cops, and then we left because she didn't want to stay there any longer. And then we headed back, and my son, I mean, this kid was like a son to a brother to my son. You know, he was already.
Because he was your son-in-law, correct?
He was and like they had been together since she was 16.
Can you type in his friend while we're here, or I'll forget.
When we told my son, like, you know, I could see like him starting to tear up and cry, and my daughter just broke down, and he just went over and just like hugged her, and she was just bawling, and I broke out the camera because to me it was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen in my life is watching her little brother hug her and console her.
Yeah, and support her.
And he hugged her until she let go. And it was just to me like the most beautiful, powerful thing that a dad could ever experience.
Yeah, of course. I call those God winks.
Yeah.
The God moment. And the fact you got it on a photo to remember forever.
Oh, it's amazing.
You know?
And I never like posted it or anything because I didn't think she would want me to post it. So I made it kind of small, but you could still see it. And then I posted Justin all the way around it. Oh. And like all of the stuff that I did about him today has gone completely fucking viral.
Well, of course. And it's I think to go through something like that, which is such a painful tragedy, of course, as a parent, like seeing your child hurt is the most excruciating pain because there's nothing you can do, right? For yourself, you can almost lie yourself out of pain. But having this pain and turning it into something so prevalent where you're not only, and I know you were already helping other people in this space, but you said it launched this space to have even more of a footprint in helping people through their trauma and kind of using it. And I don't know the capacity fully. I'm not as well versed, but it really was like this snowball moment for you. So I'm sure so many people are touched that you don't even know that his life touched.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the whole goal. So you said I was going to cry, and I cried. So there you go.
That's why I said we had to get the photo first. No puffy eyes on my watch.
Yeah.
No.
So, yeah, that's...
But thank you for sharing that with me.
Absolutely.
I didn't know the backstory, and I appreciate you sharing it.
Well, I mean, you know what's nice, though, that you came anyways. You came without knowing the backstory. You know, if I most of the time, you know, if I've told somebody the backstory, they're like, I'm in. I'm in, whoever it is, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, we just started this podcast. We had 0 followers on in February, right? February.
0. It was crazy.
Losers. I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
We were losers.
I'm just
No,
kidding.
seriously though.
That means
we
nothing.
had a dream. We had a pipe dream.
Followers are, by the way, made up facade, but it's amazing to have a platform
It's
when
still
you're doing
nice.
something
Yeah.
that's truly changing people and
Yeah.
helping them. Now, of course, the platform in itself is extraordinary.
That is the whole point behind this platform. It's and what besides the pain or like what you just saw right now, that continues to fuel me, right? I use all of this as just fuel just to be able to sit down here and interview people like you and just keep going and keep going and keep doing this. But then I get these messages, right? I look at every single message that comes through. I don't know if I'll be able to do it forever, but in the requested section.
Yeah, that's good on
yesterday, somebody wrote, they just put in there, this podcast saved my life.
That's incredible.
And I get stuff like that daily.
No, and that's to me, when you bring up all these terrible things, I just believe, again, everything I say, when I say I believe, is my belief, so it could be full of it. But I believe God handpicks people to give just the most, immense amount of pain. And I think he'll keep giving you the pain until you use it to help others.
Yeah.
So if your life has just been, a big winding of BS or horrific tragedies, and you take that leap of faith to help others, then I just believe that God knew you were strong enough to fulfill that purpose.
Right.
And that's why you're here.
No, I agree.
I'll tell you what's amazing. We went full circle in 90 minutes because the first thing we said when we sat down was people have to help other people in order to survive and have a good life.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I truly believe that. This morning when I was just getting ready and stuff, and we'll kind of end with this because I'm supposed to be on a call already, but I think that everybody's purpose is to get out of self. If you truly want to be happy, you get out of self and help others. And if you truly want to be successful in life, I don't do this podcast for myself. I do this podcast for other people.
No, of course. And, if you're healing yourself along the way, that's okay. I tell certain stories, and it's totally to heal my inner child selfishly. And I do. But I think exactly what you're saying, though. If a majority, or for you, all, if you're doing things and you're leaving this imprint, that, we're here such a short time.
Yeah. Anyways, this was a very amazing.
It was incredible
podcast.
I think she was the best speaker, best female. No, I'm going to say that she was the best, one of the best spoken we've had. Unbelievable. I'm going to say it again. I would take you anywhere to speak in front of audiences.
That is such a nice compliment.
Anywhere.
Will you give me the
Yes.
video bite of you saying that so I can send it to my producer?
Yeah. Any place.
Because I always get that you say too much. You say too much.
No,
I'm like,
Oh.
I don't care about the and the ums anymore because
the filler words, though, I do work on them.
Yeah,
I work on them too.
It's a sign of insecurity.
I noticed though, even Dr. Drew, when he was speaking, he said
Well, it's a filler word because a lot of people are insecure with silence, and you kind of have to teach yourself that silence is okay to regain your thoughts and listen and really absorb what the person is saying prior to you.
Yeah.
And we are taught.
And it's okay
go.
It's okay to slow down. Yeah. Especially some of the best public speakers in the world, they pause for a second.
The art of the pause.
Mm-hmm. The art of the pause.
I'm no good at that.
You have to.
No, I go crazy. I just like to talk.
Well, me too.
Just get me going. That's why it's so nice here in this chair, because I give other people a chance. And I took a vow of silence when I was 15 years ago. For 2 days, I didn't talk.
Monk?
Oh, God.
No, 2 days I didn't talk.
Please, can you do that again?
Because someone said I always had to up the other person. So if someone had a story, I always had to up them. It says, no, that's not a good care.
You know, that's so many things. That's also a thing if you have ADD. That's a thing if you have trauma. It's okay. It's also a thing that people do when they're super empathetic because they want people to know, I did that too.
I've been there. Yeah.
But I think there's an art in the pause, and I do want the audio bite of you complimenting me.
You have it. Yeah, you got it.
So I appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay, then.
Are we done?
Yeah, I think we
Okay,
are.
all
You
right.
can snack now.
Yeah, we can snack now. Thanks a lot.
Thank you,
Appreciate
guys.
it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna